This episode is brought to you by Muntins Malts, a company that is passionate about providing premium malts to brewers worldwide. For over a century, Muntins has been a leading supplier of brewing and distilling malts, offering the finest British malted barley on the market. You can experience the difference Muntins offers by joining a recipe receiving tier of our Trub Club, because every kit that ships out now includes premium Muntins malt. You know, we've known the Muntins crew for a long time, and I can tell you, friend, you're going to love brewing with their grains. Ask your local supply shop to carry Muntins malts, or homebrewers can join our Trub Club at homebrewhappyhour.com/club, be a part of the community, and come brew with us. Thank you, Muntins, for supporting our efforts and homebrewers worldwide. Today's show is brought to you by Hopsterette.com. Grown in the esteemed Yakima Valley on the Peterball family farm, Hopsterette.com offers the widest variety of hops available online at incredibly competitive pricing. It's simple. They grow hops, they sell hops, and they ship hops straight from their family-owned farm to your doorstep. Producing the highest quality hops is Hopsterette.com's passion, and they're proud to be an independent grower in the craft beer industry. Go to Hopsterette.com right now and get what you need to make your brew day better. That's Hopsterette.com. Today's show is brought to you by Imperial Yeast. You hear us gushing over Imperial Yeast all the time, and that's because their yeast performs for us in every batch that we brew. Imperial Yeast is adored by commercial breweries and home brewers alike. Their pitch-right pouches are jam-packed with over 200 billion fresh yeast cells, guaranteed to deliver flawless, fast fermentations every time. Imperial Yeast strains are grown by a team of pro brewers and home brewers who live to help other brewers learn more and ferment better. Join any recipe receiving tier of our Trub Club and get a free upgrade to premium Imperial Yeast with every recipe kit that ships out to you. Learn more at homebrewhappyhour.com/club and come brew with us.
Entertaining shows with content that spreads information and sparks discourse throughout the community. This is the Pearl Media Network.
How to brew an award-winning Kölsch. An interview with the 2025 Kölsch Cup Grand Champion, Robert Abbott. This is Homebrew Happy Hour, episode 434. Well, hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. This is the show where we supply the answers to your homebrewing questions and discuss all things related to craft beer. And if you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, you could go to homebrewhappyhour.com, use that submit a question link at the top of the page. You can email joshua@homebrewhappyhour.com, but even better, I want you to call it in to 325-305-6107. When I use your voicemail on a future episode, you will get yourself a gift card to kegconnection.com. It does not get much better than that, but it kind of does. I'm one of your hosts, Joshua Stubing. I am joined, like I had said at the intro, today we are joined by the 2025 Kölsch Cup Grand Champion. Actually, you are the world Kölsch champion because we're Americans, and darn it, we'd say whatever we want. It's Mr. Robert Abbott. Bob, thanks for coming on the show.
That's right. Thank you. Yeah, it's good to be world champ.
Dude, you are. You're as world champ as like the Patriots have been before on your hat. And yeah.
Right up there. Me and Brady.
That's right. Dude, you and Brady, absolutely. When I think of Kölsch now, I'm going to think of Tom Brady and Bob Abbott. That's what I'm going to think. No, it is. And I like the shirt. So I won't skip ahead. This is not your first entry into our famed Kölsch Cup championships. You know, I'm assuming you watched our video when we published it. Jonathan, I think he said this while we were recording. He may have said it at another time. I was kind of plastered by the end of the day, so I don't remember everything. But Jonathan had said something to the effect of like, this may actually be the most concentrated amount of Kölsch entries into a formalized thing, because a lot of BJCP events, American side, this side of the pond events, blur it with blonde ale as well. It's a combined category. So they don't normally get, 30. Well, this year, I think we had 26 or 25. We had 30 people sign up and pay, and then we had 4 or 5 people back out. Backing out has now been a new thing for our competitions where they still get the shirt. God bless them. But, sometimes batches don't end up how they're supposed to. But yeah, this was not your first rodeo.
No. Yes. This is third time's the charm on this one. So I entered, I guess, 3 years ago. Didn't go to the second round or the next day. Then last year was my second time. Made it to the second day, got third place, and then vowed to kind of come back, and then made a comeback this year. But luckily the champion was out judging, so I was able to sneak in there.
Yeah. I liked one of my favorite moments too was he was kind of questioning our abilities as judges, and Todd reminded him, "We've given you awards twice, pal. like either we are good or you're not. Like you can't have it both ways." Before we get too much into the show, if you don't mind, indulge me. I do have a little bit of small talk, and friends at home, I promise I'll be quick. I've been pretty quick this whole year. Ask my wife. So with that being said, these patreon.com/homebrew happy hour recipe of the month this month. Go sign up for a recipe receiving tier. Get the Comanche Moon Summer Ale. It is one of Todd and his wife's absolute favorite batches of beer to brew. It's not a wheat beer per se. It's mostly Planet. I think the build is like 90% Planet, 10% white wheat, or it might be like 80-10-10 of something else. I have to pull it up. But either way, it was very popular a few years ago. We haven't done it in a while. Go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour. Join our recipe receiving tier that will be shipped out at the end of the month. Thank you to our sponsors, Muntins Malt, hopsdirect.com, and of course, Imperial Yeast for providing the premium ingredients that go into these kits, truly making them what they are. I will assume as we talk about your grain bill later on in the show, good ingredients goes a long way. Good processes go a long way. You've obviously dialed in whatever you're doing because you have placed 2 years in, or you placed last year and then you won it this year. But again, I digress. I'm getting ahead of myself. Where I want to start, Bob, is from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about yourself as a home brewer. How long have you been brewing, and what got you bit by the bug? Was it a love of craft beer? Then you started brewing? Like, tell us all about your history as a home brewer.
Yeah. So, I mean, way back when, it was like a Mr. Beer kit, Irish Red, that I think my mom got me. I did that and I was like, whatever, that kind of stunk. And I just kind of went away after that. But then, it was getting into craft beer, all the breweries popping up, we were traveling to different breweries, all that stuff. And then started having some kids and was kind of looking for an at-home hobby, and was like, I should give this another shot. So started back up, tried to do, 1 gallon on the kitchen stove there, and I couldn't really get it to a boil. So I was doing partial mash and it wasn't really boiling good. So I took off, went to the homebrew shop, kind of first time there. And I was telling him, I was looking for a pot and like a propane boiler so I could get the thing to boil. And he's like, "Oh, have you seen this new contraption?" It was like the mash and boil, just the basic one, no pump or anything. And I was like, "Oh yeah, this thing looks nice." So I took that home and just went like all grain from there. And then a few years after that, kind of switched over, got a claw hammer supply. And I was actually using that as like a 2-vessel system. So I had like a mash tun and I was using the claw hammer just to like kind of boil. And then, a few years on that, switched over to the Grainfather G30, using that for a little while. And then most recently, I guess in the last year, I got the Brewtools B40. So that's what I brewed. This Kölsch was on the B40. Last year was on the Grainfather. But yeah, I kind of like to tinker a little. So my equipment's kind of changing every few years, it seems like. And I guess, I'm fermenting in kegs right now, kind of in a small little fridge that I have temperature controlled. Before that, it was, 1 gallon glass carboys with like a towel over it in the corner of the room, that whole kind of progression.
Yeah. Electric brewing. So have you found, it's night and day from a stovetop to electric brewing. Like, it's not even comparable.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's much nicer, much easier. Yeah.
Have you been trying to keep all your old, because you were talking about how, you kind of made a 2-vessel at one point. Are you keeping all that old gear, or have you been selling it as you progress as a home brewer?
Sold most of it off. I still have some stuff lying around the basement that some of it just won't go. I think, you see kind of the more equipment being for sale, less people buying, I think, recently. So I got some stuff sitting around. I still have the mash and boil, still have the Grainfather sitting down there. Clawhammer's gone. But I picked up a canner that I've been afraid to use. It's still in my basement. So I'm still bottling everything. But yeah, I just like gadgets and stuff. So I'll just accumulate stuff, sell it off, buy new stuff.
Do you remember the first batch you brewed in regards to actually thinking, hey, I've got a hang of this, I can make good beer? Or was that your first batch? Because to be fair, I'm just making the assumption your first batch was not good, because that was my experience.
Yeah, no, I was struggling. I mean, especially like the first batches, I was all like, hazy, being kind of New England region, so I was hazy IPA, I was chasing Treehouse, Trillium, Alchemist, all these people, right? They're making world-class hazies, and I'm over here, with my 1-gallon glass carboy in a corner. I'm tasting. I'm like, this stinks. This is nothing like what they're making, right? So it was actually the first beer I think that I was like, wow, this is actually pretty good. It was actually a stout I made. It was a pastry stout. It was a vanilla macaroon stout that my wife had liked. She had one from Trillium. So I was like, oh, why don't we try one of those? And actually, that one came out pretty good. And we're like, wow, maybe we can make a decent beer. So then it was, from there, I've kind of gotten away from the hazies, more into like lighter styles now. Lagers, Kolsch. Actually, you guys kind of got me brewing the Kolsch and the alt beer.
No kidding. Yeah. I like to say, and I was going to ask, I mean, that's one of the questions I have on here after remembering your first batch. Like, do you have favorite styles? And I know, like, that's such an open-ended thing, because Todd hates that question, because Todd would say, like, it depends what time of the year it is, or whatever. But I mean, you said you're a dad now. As a father, for me, I'm not saying dads can't enjoy super boozy hazies. Y'all do whatever you want. You're adults. I don't care. But I like the crushable beer now with not a lot going on, because it's predictable, and being crushable, I can drink more of it and not be kerschnonkered, like I can actually enjoy my day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my days of crushing like 6-pack, like 8% and playing Fortnite all night is like over. So
dead. Yeah, the dream is dead.
Yeah, it's all. I'm looking for like 5% and under pretty much when I go. I mean, I'll still drink, some of the hazies and stuff, especially from Trillium, Treehouse. Those things I still think are great. But yeah, if I'm brewing, or if I'm trying to hang out by the fire and enjoy my time, it's basically dark lagers. So what I've been brewing a lot lately.
Like Chet Dark, or like a specific,
yeah, Czech style dark. And I've been getting into like competing in the last probably couple of years, kind of more heavily. So that's been probably the one I've been tweaking. I have probably a dozen iterations, but it's finally kind of clicking and kind of winning different comps and stuff. So that's been encouraging.
As a lager guy, is most of your, I mean, how is your setup now, where in regards to not just the hot side, but the post hot side, like all the cold side stuff, fermentation? Do you have a lagering chamber? Have you had to do all that to really perfect your lager styles?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm fermenting them in kegs, just like 5-gallon cornies. I'll try to get like 4.25 gallons in them about, and then I'll just throw them in. I have a little mini fridge that's temperature controlled, right? So I can set the temperature up and down on that. I have like a heating pad in there, and then a temp controller on it. And I'll just throw them in there. I don't do technically I guess it's under pressure a little bit, but I'll just keep them spunding down there and put it at like 3 to 5 PSI. I just like to see that there's like a seal and there's some pressure in there. But I'm not like going hot under pressure. So I'll do kind of traditional kind of lager schedule, and then I'll ramp it down for the cold crash, just because I heard like John Palmer one day say that was better for yeast. So it's stuck in my head. Who knows if it works or not, but yeah, I'll cold crash like 8 degrees every 12 hours, or I think it's something like that, and it will go down slowly. I have it all like programmed into the temperature controller, so it works nicely.
Oh, so it's automated. Is it an Inkberg that you're able to do that with, or what are you using?
It's similar. I mean, it's similar. I think I bought it a long time ago. It's like a Kegland MK2 or something. It's a little black box, but you can program different steps, like how many hours, how many days, and what temperatures you want it to get to. So
I love that. Todd calls me lazy, and he's not wrong. But hear me out. As I always say, it's the best time ever to be alive as a home brewer. One of the things I like, you're talking about brewing on the Brew built now, but I am assuming it has bells and whistles like your G30 did, and some of the other electric ones. I love I'm going to call it hand holding, and I don't even mean that like disparagingly. I mean, it is so nice to have the computer that knows better than me, because I'm forgetful, to like on the hot side of stuff, for it to be like, hey dummy, time to put in this. Hey dummy, I'm going to step mash for you because the style calls for it. Okay, perfect. On the cold side, oh, that's brilliant. Where, yeah, first off, if John Palmer says something, I listen. I wish he would reciprocate. I've invited him on the show, and I think I go to his spam folder. John, come on the show. But either way, no, I'm not hurt about that at all. But no, I like being able to control stuff dials it in. Now, I'll say this with lagers. James, especially this year, has been killing it with lagers, and he's doing them all under pressure. But there is something to me that I can't verbally quantify it, but it's tangible when Todd does a lager with proper temperature control and all that the whole way through with his glycol system. It's just maybe a little more crisper. I don't know. You know what I'm saying though? Especially if you're a competitor, you probably got to hit all those marks as best as you can for any kind of chance of meddling, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think competitions come down a lot to like packaging too, because that's like you can have a great beer coming out of the keg, and then I've done it myself, right? You bottle stuff for comps, and then like this thing's oxidized or this thing tastes funny, and it's like, well, these all came off the same keg like the same time. Like, what did I do different with this bottle? But yeah, and for temperature control, like I've done some warm lagers, and I've done like when Kvike was kind of more popular. I don't know if it's still popular. I haven't used it in a while, but I've done like a pseudo lager with like Kvike and things like that, and it actually came out pretty good. But I think kind of like what you're saying, it was just like it was missing something, like a crispness or just something to it. Maybe it's in my head, maybe it wasn't, but it didn't seem right to me. So I went back to just
Well, and pretty good is so relative, because for me, I brew beer that is objectively not great, but it's pretty good to me. And so like the competition, is that what got you into competing, was to see how your batches were to the book, or like what got you even interested in sending your beers off for competition to begin with?
Yeah, I guess, I mean, I'm somewhat competitive just by like nature. Grew up playing sports and all that, and love sports, love competing. So, with the kids, I stopped playing. I was playing softball and stuff, competing that way, stopped. So I'm like, what can I compete in now? I guess it's just going to be beer. So, yeah, part of it was getting feedback, right? Because, like you said, you can drink it at home, you can give it to your friends, like, this is good beer. So initially it was like, oh, I want to get some feedback on this, objective feedback that will say, what I can do to tweak it. And then over time, I was like, I don't really love all these judges' feedback, so I just want to win medals. Like, so.
He's talking about our feedback specifically from Kölsch, because it's like me and Todd writing, "This was good." Check. Jonathan and James try to give like pretty detailed stuff this year. And pardon me, years past, Wes I think does probably better. I never read the forms. I ship them out. I'm responsible for all that. But I do know for a fact, because I've known Todd so long and I know myself, our forms could be better. But especially those poor people. I'm glad we changed the format to just one round of scorecard and then that kind of knockout stage, because being a little inebriated when you're trying to come up, like I almost need to cheat and stop, like use Chat GPT and then hit record again so people don't know. But hey, tell me how I can say this without saying this again for the 5,000th time. Yeah. But no, tell me. I want to know your process though for competing, because I've never actually done it. I know you didn't bottle condition. I could tell from your entry that you didn't bottle condition, or at least I suspect you didn't. What is if you've been finding success in competition, what is the process you do when the batch is in the keg, it's done, and you're ready to submit it off to all these various organizations?
Yeah. Yeah, before I will say I have the sheet from last year still, and it was a 49.5 from Todd.
Oh,
great Kolsch just across the sheet.
Yeah, that's my point. Exactly where can you tell me why? Because I liked it. Yeah,
but it was funny. But yeah, so my packaging process. So I'm using, it's like the tap cooler. It's a counter pressure filler, and I'm using. So for the tap that I'm using now, I have an inner tap faucet for that line, and you can like screw off the faucet part. And you can screw on this little tubing. Yeah. Screw off the nozzle. You screw on a little bit of tube, and then I can hook the counter pressure fill up to that. And then I'm counter pressure filling from the bottles, purging them with CO2, filling them, and then at the end, making sure you're capping on foam. So sometimes I'll blast on CO2. Lately, I've just been kind of shaking them, stirring them a little bit like that until the foam gets up to the top. And so I guess to step back, I'm actually never using used bottles. These are all new bottles just because I'm anal like that. So I'll get a set of new bottles. We're going to rinse them hot water, soak them PBW, rinse them hot water again, sanitize them, have them ready to go. And then, go through the fill process, cap sanitized, cap it, I was using one of those hand crimpers for a long time. And then just in like this last year, I started getting random feedback, like one-off bottles at comps, like this thing tastes bad, this thing's weird. Then the other one was like, placing, and I was like, what was going wrong? So I was thinking maybe it was the crimper. So I was looking at the bottle. I'm like, I don't know. How do I know if this is sealed right? So I'm like, whatever. I went out and I bought like one of the benchtop bottle capper things. So I've been using that. I used that for Kolsch Cup was the first time I used it. So we'll see if that improves any like sporadic kind of one-offs here. But I did look at the bottles afterwards, and it's definitely like crimped on more or something. Like the other one's kind of
better
like
seal or whatever.
It's like a better seal. So hopefully that will resolve that issue. And then I'll bottle them up. I like to try to ship as close to possible as like the deadline, so it's not sitting somewhere that you don't know exactly if it's cold, if it's warm. I'll pay a little extra and get it, either 2-day shipping if it's not crazy expensive based on where it's going, 2-day shipping, so it's quicker. Occasionally I'll throw ice packs in with the package. I'm using like the whale pod shippers for bottles, so they're pretty sturdy. I've never had any breaks so far.
I don't remember your package, but I do know everybody that submitted this year had exceptional packaging, and not just from the literal bottles, but like the protection around it. And you could tell either these were people who've entered before and had some bad experiences in transit, or they're just being uber because I got to imagine as someone entering, it's got to be stressful doing everything on your end, and there's still variables out of your control that can affect your beer.
Yep. Yeah. And that's what, it does that's what I'm trying to eliminate, with the if you're trying to purge that stuff, get all the oxygen out. Cause if it's sitting warm and stuff, that will definitely expedite your kind of staling process. I think if you got some oxygen in there, there's actually a good video. I don't know if we're plugging other videos, but Russian River has a video on YouTube about like oxygen management. And there's a section in there about like bottling and stuff. And I kind of refer to that they do experiment like, bottling straight into a bottle, purging it with CO2 first, then bottling it in different steps. And they actually are measuring like the dissolved oxygen in there. And like, even if all you can do is like purge it, and then that's the best you can do, it knocked it down like, by 10 times the amount of oxygen that was in a bottle. It was crazy.
Yeah. Well, no, Russian River doesn't give me money. I got to edit all that out. No, I don't. You jerk. I don't edit this show. You just say whatever you want, and I'm just gonna be like, I got to leave it in. Do you find that? Or first off, I wanted to ask: when you sanitize your bottles, are you sanitizing as close to packaging as possible? And then also, do you try to keep them cold? Because I've heard anecdotally, the colder the bottles, the better the absorb. I mean, obviously the CO2 is already in your keg, and I got to try one of those tap coolers. I've only heard good things about them. They don't fit CM Becker faucets yet, so I've been using the Blickman beer gun, but I only bottle once a year, and I haven't had any issues. But everyone swears by that tap cooler. But the idea being, with the counter pressure, even though the beer gun's not technically counter pressure, whether the bottles are warmer or room temperature or cold, it shouldn't affect the CO2, the integrity of the CO2 volume in the bottle. But I have heard from a lot of people anecdotally, if their bottles are cold, it seems to be better retention of the CO2 volume and everything in the bottle. Do you do that?
That's what I've heard too. And that's what I do. So I'm cleaning these bottles like right before I'm bottling. So I'm cleaning them, and then I'm putting like the sanitizer, Star San, like a cold water bucket, like as cold as I can get the water, throwing them in there, and then pulling them right before I'm going to bottle them. So I'll pull them, dump the Star San out, and then fill them from there. So they're cold, and then right when I'm done, I'll put them back in the fridge and wait till they're ready to ship. So, and
you found that to work for you for your process?
Yeah, it's working pretty good. Besides, there's still some one-offs, like I said, that will come back. You get like a 40 at one comp and a 19 on the other, and you're like, what did I do wrong? Like, this is the same exact beer. But
what did I do wrong to be the title of my memoir, Rob? I could absolutely. We kind of talked. We've messaged each other before on Instagram before. Before people accuse me of playing favoritism, Kolsch Cup is completely anonymous. Just because our community always enters does not mean we have favorites. But we've been following each other on Instagram for a while. But one thing I did not know that I just found out is you're an active participant in the Brewtuber community. Which, how funny! Like, I feel like after Kurt reached out to me about getting him on the show. It's like all y'all are coming out from under the rocks of like, I'm in the Brewtuber, like a lot of our community. I was like, we've been doing this show for 10 years. I think Brewtuber, I forget what he said when they first started, but I mean, the resurgence of Brewtubers has been every bit of a few years. And all of a sudden now all you guys were like entering winning our competitions and all that. No, talk about like the community, that your involvement with Brewtubers and how that affects maybe what you're brewing or competitions you're entering or stuff like that. If you're able to bounce ideas off people or bounce your recipes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's been fun. I've been kind of part of that group for, I guess, maybe three-ish years now. Yeah, it's funny timing because obviously Nick was just on your podcast and like him and Kurt just had a brew day, I think like a week or two ago. And I stopped by their house, sitting by the fire. We're talking about his episode with you. And I was talking about the Kolsch cup and I was like, yeah, I don't know, this Kolsch, I don't love it, we'll see how it does. So yeah, whatever backroom deal you and Nick had for me. Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. Nick, that some of that DraftKings money he slipped my way, but it was a voucher for Golden Corral. So I was like, Nick, come on, buddy. No, but did you take your Kolsch over there to them to try?
I didn't have it with me. I hadn't packaged it up yet, and I was like, I don't feel like packaging it and bringing it. So they didn't get to try it. Maybe I'll send some their way. But yeah, I've been with them a few years now, and actually I think we've had at least 3, maybe more now, that have come over, joined, paid because they heard your episode, you and Nick's episode. They're like, oh, we came from Homebrew Happy Hour. They signed up. They're jumping into experiments. They're looking for to meet up and stuff. So they've been kind of all in. So yeah, thanks to you too for that exposure and getting people.
The 3 people who actually listen joined. Yeah. That's incredible. We're batting
3 for 3. Yeah.
We're batting 1,000, baby. This is incredible.
Yeah, but no, I mean I'd say for paying members, I mean that was a fast 3 joined pretty quickly after that episode.
That's awesome.
So that was cool.
I'm always happy to help. See, the one thing, Nick and I covered it and talked about it a bunch, and I say it all the time. I genuinely enjoy homebrewing so much. I don't care how people get into it. A community is the ideal way. I brew with my pop and we do Homebrew Happy Hour, and that is all the community I need. But people, it makes it more fun when you're brewing, even if it's a digital community, to be able to bounce ideas back, this and that, but also answer questions and help and all that. I know we have ChatGPT and Reddit, as much as I don't want to support Reddit and all that jazz. I'm so happy to hear that. Even if these people, if they just find our podcast and they go buy a Mr. Beer, I'd be happy because I think the hobby, I'm not one of those, I wish I could pretend to be one of those diehards of I'm going to lobby for this and that. No, I just enjoy it and I'm always going to do it. And I think you would enjoy it too. And you should do it, but you're an adult, do whatever you want. I don't care. But
right. Yeah, that's you can't force things on people, right? If you like it, then do it.
That's been my experience as a father. Yeah. It's every time I get hey, you want to start wrestling? You want to start jujitsu? Ew, dad wants us to do that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's my kids too trying to, and you want to do basketball? No. And then randomly, I want to do basketball because Susie signed up for basketball, right? I'm like, okay, I see.
Yeah,
so now you want to play.
It has to be their idea. If they think, if my kids think that I am happy at all, I have a 15-year-old now and a 13-year-old and an 8-year-old. The older two especially. Teenage girls, they're the best. Oh, I love them. But anyway, if they think that I'm enjoying whatever the activity they're doing, they're not interested anymore. Yeah, dad wants to do it. But if it's some other activity and I have to pretend I hate it, they're like, oh, I'm gonna do this more. Okay, whatever.
Looking forward to, I have 2 girls, 9 and 8. So, and then I have a son that's 6. So we'll be.
Hey, you're getting there
soon. But yeah, I mean, they actually. They're funny because all they watch is YouTube now these days, right? That's all they want to see. So I told them I was doing this, and they're like, "You're going to be on TV?" I'm like, "Yep, I'm going to be on TV. Your dad's cool now. Look at me. I'm on YouTube. Hi, kid."
Yeah. Here's how fragile my ego is. Our one-off videos on our channel get tens of thousands of views, like our short form, whatever. The episodes get a few hundred, maybe 1,000. My daughters who also watch YouTube are like, Dad, why do you even do this? This is so cringe. My ego is so fragile. I had to pull up we pay for a metric thing because at one point we tried to make money selling ad spots. It didn't work out, but I still paid for the metric stuff. And I was like, look at this. That's 12,900 downloads for last week's episode. What do you think about that? Yeah. And my kids still rolling their eyes like, Dad's cringe. I'm like,
they asked me, they're like, oh, does that podcast or that YouTube show make as much as Ninja Kids? I'm like, oh yeah, yep, they do.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Joe Rogan, child? Yeah, I'm bald like him. He lives in my town now. Oh. No, anyways.
My son told me not to mess up the interview. You'll take my award from me too.
Oh,
so I have that in the back of my head.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I apologize first off to you and everyone who entered. It's going to be delayed a week. I'm going on a cruise next week. The week that this is being published, I am on a cruise ship right now with a cigar, pissing off my wife who doesn't want me to bring cigars. Why can't you just not smoke for a week? And then eating a bunch. I've been actively cutting weight for the weight I'm about to gain. Like my wife thinks it's because, who are you trying to look good for on the cruise? Like, no, I'm going to gain weight. Like that's the whole point. If I don't lose 10 pounds now, I'm just going to be 10 pounds plus whatever I gain heavier after the cruise. That's what a cruise is, right? Is overeating and overindulging. And I wish it had better beer on board. That is my one complaint about cruise ships. They rarely have. We're going on a Carnival cruise, and they have their own brewery. This ship doesn't have it, but they have their beer, and the Red Frog Red. The red ale is actually decent, but it's still not worth $8 a pint. But anyway, I did want to ask you, I totally forgot earlier to ask about your brew schedule. You're doing 10-gallon batches, I'm assuming, because you're brewing on a 40 liter system, or is that not what the 40 stands for in Brew Built Force?
It is 40 liters, but I'm only doing 5-gallon batches still.
Oh, right on. Wait, so so you're future proof in regards to any style that I can't think of anything, even the most boozy barley wine, you could probably get 5 gallons out of that B40.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is your schedule then? Are you just brewing just for you, or are you brewing a consistent schedule? Like what, I didn't even ask you, what does your draft side look like? Or do you not have a draft side?
Yeah, I have a kegerator, like a 4-tap kegerator. It's not always full, but yeah, I can fit 4 kegs in there. Sometimes we'll do, some hop water or just some sparkling water for the kids. They like that. But yeah, so it's going in kegs. It's going in there. I'm brewing basically, for myself and competitions at this point. So, and my drinking has slowed a lot over the years. So my brew schedule has kind of slowed a lot. It seems like some of these beers I'm just like sending into competitions, and then the kegs like sit there for a while. But hey, at least it's there,
I found that too. I don't want to guess your age. You're aging better than I am. I'll be 40 this year, and I'm finding too, even in my late 30s, like my drinking habits are slowing. Just like, I'm not going to as many trade shows. That's a big thing. In the summertime, it used to be trade show season, so it's just like, okay, next week I got to take hangover medicine with me, this and that. But my pop and I, he's really the only. We brew here at my house once a month for Brew Day Live. Most of that beer we take either up to Todd, or it always ends up at my pop's house. And then, I used to get upset at him years ago for giving away our beer to his degenerate poker friends. Like he would take growlers. I'd be like, Dad, are you kidding me? That's a half a gallon every time. Now I'm like, Pop, take 2. Like we got to clear some room out. We got all this beer and we're just not drinking it. Do you have, I know you're in the Brewtubers and you're close enough for some of the guys. Do you find yourself sharing a lot of your beer as these batches just kind of sit?
Yeah, that is true. I mean, that's one good thing about the club too, is that, people are shipping beers back and forth, trading beers, doing experiments, testing beers. So I'm not the best at it. I should probably be sending some more out. But, it's like thinking about packaging and then boxing and shipping. Sometimes it's like, yeah. But yeah, I've sent it out a few times to different people, gotten some stuff back. And yeah, it's a good way to share. And like you said, to bounce ideas off of people, we're constantly in the Discord. So everyone's chatting in there, and there's different experiments. We did what is it for Christmas? Like a advent box, I guess you'd say, right? Where you could do like different beers and send them around. Yeah, it is a good way to ship off some beers, get some feedback other than competitions and other than just kind of like your local group of friends. Yeah.
As a competition brewer, do you have a good idea by January 1st of what the year has to offer? Are most competitions, like we try to keep Kölsch Cup, April, May, and we try to do Alt Pokal October, November. Are most competitions you're entering mapped out good enough to where and you have, because if you're doing a lager, that's not a turnaround quick kind of style. Yeah. I can't imagine. So what does that look like as a competition brewer for mapping out your brew schedule for the year?
Yeah, this year I actually tried something different. I signed up. There's like a brew circuit. So there's like a whole set, and I guess plugging another thing, but it's like the Brew Club is online, and they have like a circuit you can sign up for. So I did that. And so it was like they have, there's like a list of 9 competitions or 10 or something. So I based off of that this year. Other years, I would just go kind of in like the BJCP website. They have like a list of different competitions. Over time, you kind of become familiar with different ones that, I want to enter this one again. I want to try this one again. And then I'll put them all in a spreadsheet. And then I'll put the date that like shipping ends. And then I have it like, because I'm a nerd, and like I have different tabs for the competitions, and I put the shipping end date, and it'll calculate, like backwards calculate based on what I want to do. Like, this is when you should brew it by, this is when you should have it carved, this is when you should sip it.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So it sets it up like that, or else, I would just totally forget and like never get stuff done. I mean,
that should also be the title of my memoir. Man, you're just knocking them out. What is the next one you have coming up, and what's the style that is it something for a lager? What's the next competition you've got?
So the next one that I'm actually shipping now is actually the national competition. So I got into the final round there with a Czech style amber lager and a pale lager. So fingers crossed, we're shipping those out. I think I'll ship those Monday, and then we'll see if those medal.
So NHC, is that July 14th or when? I forget when they're
judging.
They
are judging the end of June. Like
end of June,
28th or 26th.
Oh, maybe
like that.
Winners are announced in July, right?
Maybe, I forget exactly, but they're judging in Kansas City this year. But it's not like part of any homebrew con or anything. Obviously,
I'm sorry, AHA. I had to do that. I miss HomebrewCon. I'm actually trying to bully them into doing it. Like, or anybody organizing something for me to have an excuse to go to. That's one of my favorite things to do. Kansas City is I don't know if you've been there. Kansas City is a great town. So underrated. I love visiting there.
Yeah, they actually offered, because at first it was going to be closed and only judges would be there. But then they offered if you had an entry in the finals, you could get a ticket and go, and they'll going to do the awards and stuff. So I've been debating making a trip out there. Like, I've never been. I've heard good things about it. But then I'm like, I'm going to waste the money, go there and lose, and then just come home all sad,
Yeah, but you'll enjoy the barbecue and the World War II museum. You'll have a blast, I promise. Kansas City is so underrated. I really have enjoyed going there. We have a vendor we work with closely, Fox Equipment. There's a free shout out for you guys. No, 99% of people can't use them. They're a wholesaler for brew supply shops and stuff and bars and breweries. But anyways, when we go there, never fails. I think I bore Todd with my interests of like, we're gonna go, we're gonna do brewery tours, but we're gonna go to the World War II museum. I'm gonna hang out there all day and play with the things in the gift shop. I am a child when I'm around Todd. But no, that would be fun to go to Kansas City, regardless. But yeah, travel and all that, and taking the time off, and I get. So I didn't realize they're doing the judging. If they're doing the awards, then we'll know that same day who won. Do they give you any hint as to how many finalists are in the categories you're in?
Well, try to think. I think there was 9 first round locations this year. I think it changed. So the 3 winners from like the first location go on to the final round. So per table, you'd have, 3 winners at the 9 locations to be 27 basically at your table in the finals, I think. So about like what Kölsch Cup, right? You're at like basically 27 same beers as you. See how it goes.
But they're only a national. Okay, we're a world. I don't know if you know that. Like you could be the national champ. That's great. I'm going to be happy for you, Bob. But you're already a world champ. I don't know what you're trying to prove.
Yeah, I may just retire because that is true.
We're going to have to get you down here to judge ours.
Their medals just don't matter the same way.
Yeah. Do they give you a trophy? Do they even give you a trophy? No,
just a medal.
Just a medal.
Yeah.
I gotta get you trophy. Yeah, like I said though, the cruise it's gonna be delayed by 2 weeks. My apologies. But it's the nicest trophy. It's not the biggest trophy. My apologies, but it is objectively the nicest. It's real. It's not just like chrome plated aluminum. Jonathan Marut listens every week. Your trophy was the best too. I don't mean to disparage it, but the one I showed the guys yours, and I think I put it on camera at one point. But it's nice. You have a space for it already? Is it going to go in the office, or will your wife let you put it loud and proud on the mantle?
I've been thinking I need a space because right now they're just like my kegerator's in the corner of the kitchen, and I have like medals and stuff like lying around on it. And it's just like, my wife's like, what do you do? Like, you need to clean this up. I'm like, all right, I don't know what to do with it though. I got to find a spot.
Well, and I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up because it's in the title. Well, before I let you go, and this might be a good chunk of the rest of our time, we need to talk about this award-winning recipe you did. Now, you placed last year third. Did you do a lot of tweaking? And then what was the grain bill, hop schedule, cold conditioning, all of that you can divulge for us? What did you do to get this award-winning Kolsch besides paying us off? How did you do it?
I mean, that was pretty much it. I mean, I basically poured, some Reisdorf into a bottle, paid you some money.
That's how now everyone knows that's how to get to Jonathan Marute. He would be like, here's the frill. And here's the Reisdorf. Oh.
Yeah. I know. Thanks to him. Yeah, I know. You guys were going to eliminate me. And that was nerve-wracking, actually, watching the best of show. Because I also didn't know if that was my beer, because you didn't say which number, which entries they were.
Yeah, we didn't.
And I was like, I think that one's mine, because he liked it in the first round. It looks like the way I had the label on there. So I was like standing in front of the TV. I poured some Kolsch. I was drinking it. I was like, come on.
I was kind of crass on some of them, but one of the other people who I just flippantly was like, I'm okay getting rid of that one. They're like, well, you liked it the first round. I was like, no. I just had to do that. Like that's part of the whole process, guys. But no, what is it like? This is a 5-gallon batch. So
5 gallon, about 4.25 about. So I try to put 4.25 into the keg. But yeah, I didn't change it from last year. I thought last year's I thought that was like probably my best Kolsch last year. I thought this year's was actually I didn't like it as much, but obviously you never know, right? Who's going to taste it? Who's going to try it? Who likes what? But I thought it was still good. I just thought last year's was better. So I didn't change it because I got third last year. I'm like, hey, we'll go again. The champ's not competing next year. We can slide in there with the same recipe. So it's a pretty basic recipe. I mean, it's 92%. I'm looking at it now. It was just a Pilsner. I get it from Stone Path, which is a place in Massachusetts. They have an agreement or a partnership with like Irex out in Germany. So it's like an Irex Pilsner. And then it was 4% Vyenna, 4% wheat malt that I get out of Maine, actually Blue Ox in Maine. So I try to get stuff local if I can. And then it was 60-minute boil of Hallertau Mittelfrüh. It was about 16.9 IBU.
Mittelfrüh's the best.
5-minute boil on Tettning for 1.4 IBU. I mean, for me, based on those alpha acids, it was 48 grams and 24 grams, but that could change based on the alpha. And then let's see. Yeah, yeast was the White Labs 029 German Ale Kolsch yeast. And what did I do? I fermented that. Let's see. I mashed it 152. 60-minute mash. And what did I use? I mean, I throw some calcium chloride, some Epsom, some gypsum. I'm using all distilled water. So then I'll put a little bit of salt in there. It was really, really low. I mean, I put 1.8 grams calcium chloride, 0.6 Epsom, 0.6 gypsum. And I mean, if anyone wants this recipe, it's in Brewfather. I can share it out with people.
Would you send me the link? I'll put it in the show notes, please. Yeah.
Little lactic acid, Werflock tablet, yeast nutrients. That's kind of it. I ferment. I go a little bit lower than I think recommended temps is like 62 up. I'll usually go 60 degrees for like a few days. Once it kind of kicks in, then I'll go up to 66 for usually it's about a week till it seems like it's about done, and then I'll crash it down to as cold as I can get in that little fridge, which sometimes only gets to like 36 or so. But then I'll do like that ramp. I'll ramp it down like I was saying earlier. And that's it. I do use Biofine. So that's how I get some of that clearness.
That's how it's so pretty.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. I think most people did that because all of them were crystal clear on the finalists. Like it's ridiculous how clear y'all's beer was.
Yeah, I mean, time, and then obviously that Biofine works. I mean, I know a lot of people use like gelatin and stuff. I just found the Biofine easy for me. I actually put it in because I'll ferment in a keg and then I'll transfer into a keg. So I basically just have a jumper for ball lock with a little bit of tubing in there. So I'll basically I fill that transfer tube I have with the Biofine and try to get like all the air out of the tubing, and then I'll clamp that on, and when I transfer it, we'll shoot the Biofine into the serving keg. So I don't have to open the serving keg up at all, because that I'm filling with water and star sand. I'm purging that whole serving keg out, so I'm transferring into like a purged keg. So that's kind of the process, and then the bottling, I guess the packaging we talked about.
Do you keep the serving keg cold before you transfer into it, or is it room temp?
No, that's well, I don't keep it. It's probably a little bit cold, right? Because I'll pull it, after I'm done, I clean them, I pressurize them, I'll throw them in the basement. So I'll pull it out of the basement. but then I'm filling it with cold water and sanitizer and purging that out before I fill it. So I guess it's a little bit cold, right? Still from that being purged out, but I'm not like storing them cold or anything beforehand.
And then what's your carbonation process? Are you a forced carb or are you a set and forget? And that's still technically forced carb, but do you put it at serving PSI and just let it sit there as opposed to blasting 35 on it for a few minutes?
Yeah, as long as I've planned out enough time, I'll just put it on serving, which is usually I'll keep it about 12 PSI and just let it go. Just try it over time and see. But yeah, if I'm in a rush, sometimes I'll do, 30 PSI for like 12 hours and then kind of bring it back down and see if that will get it quicker. But I don't know. I've overcarbed stuff that way before too, and it's a pain. So I like to have enough time to let it sit because I want it to condition anyways and get, like you're saying, clearly. Because biofine helps, but still, time is gonna be your biggest help there too.
You're preaching to the choir about overcarbing. I have not forced carb traditionally in a very long time because every time I share beer with Todd, he'll complain about the carbonation levels. So I almost want to come in every time under carb for him, and then he will do it however he wants. Perfect. But you can't come back from overcarb. Yeah. And especially with you being a competition brewer on most of your batches, you can't afford to overcarb. Yeah. I guess that's even more fickle, right? You've got to have carbonation on point by the time you bottle off that keg.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think, especially with with the Kolsch cup, especially, I feel like having so many of the same exact style, right? I think, we saw it if you watched it, you guys could probably talk about it, but it seemed like there was such a small margin of I'm going to either win or get knocked out like fifth or sixth, right? Because they're all kind of level. It's all the same. These might be very similar recipes, right? People might have the same ingredients, right? So
yeah,
to me, making sure that packaging is on point is, hopefully going to get just a little bit better than some that might have, slacked on their packaging or rushed it a bit or something. And then the clarity to me was big, trying to get it clear so it kind of hopefully stand out. The first impression you pull it, oh wow, that's bright, and then from there it kind of gets your bias going that's a good beer, hopefully,
Dude, an overwhelming amount of entries were using our recipe and nailed it, and it made it so difficult. Todd and Wes at one point made a comment, we had a handful of entries that just weren't Kolsch. I was like, guys, you got to quantify that better because I drank them and they were great. But they're just not Kolsch. That's not a BJCP thing. It had the esters and it had it's in the spectrum of color and then taste and all that. We gotta be more. But no, man, congrats as a world champ. Have you entered this Kolsch in any other competitions, or are you even last year when you got third, has it gone to any others across the country, or is it a Kolsch Cup exclusive?
This batch hasn't gone anywhere yet. I think I probably will try to add it into some. And then last year's that Kolsch went to, I have to pull up my sheet. I think it was only one other one, and it got like a third place at the table or something. So it did okay there too. So I think the recipe and the process, I think for this is pretty close. I think this one, it was a little too bitter maybe for my taste. I probably knocked that down a bit, but it's pretty close. And usually I don't know. I'm pretty harsh, my own worst critic type thing, right? So every beer I'm like, I got to do this, got to do that. But actually with this Kolsch, for the first time, we were at a bar the other night and I ordered a Kolsch and I got it and I was like, my beer's better than this one. And I was like, I'd never feel that way, right? So I was like, maybe mine's okay.
It was before you won. Before you won.
Before okay. I won, yeah.
Because now that you're a winner, you're just like, take this back. I brought my own.
No, I can't drink any. Kolsch is ruined for me now. It's only my Kolsch. Yeah.
Well, and I don't know about y'all's area, and Texas specifically, we have so many domestic brewers in this state making Kolsch. I'm super spoiled. And in the same vein, it's also like, oh no, that's not a good Kolsch. It's almost 50-50. Real Ale out of Blanco, free shout out for them. Their head brewer a long time ago, their former head brewer, Eric Ogershock, has been on the show, but he got fired. So I don't think they want to talk to us anymore. But either way, they make a delicious Kolsch. So I don't know if you have access to great domestic Kolsch or import up there like Frew, but it really is the best time ever. Now, I did want to ask you before I let you go too, have you ever brewed an alt beer, and what are your thoughts about entering alt Pokal, assuming we do it? I'm still working on Horst, but assuming we do it, are you going to enter?
So I have entered. So I've entered all Pokal once. I made it to the second day, but then didn't place. That was, I guess, two years ago. Last year, I was one of the bad kids who signed up and then didn't get my beer.
Oh, it was you! Did you get your shirt at least? Did I send you the shirt?
Shirt,
okay,
yeah.
okay. I'm pretty good about still sending out the shirts, I swear. Some people, I drop the ball and they're like, how does your Trump Club even make it if you don't pay attention? I was like, it's like 1 out of 10, guys. 1 out of 10. I'll drop the ball. My apologies.
Yeah. And I have mentioned other clubs too, but I am a part of the Trump Club too, So everyone can be, you can be a part of everything.
That's right.
Trump Club, come over to the Brewtubers.
Absolutely. No, I agree. And if I get Horst on board, we are going to do the alt Pokal. I would love to have you enter. Obviously, it's all randomized, but my dream this year, poor James got caught up with work stuff, and so he couldn't come do it because I wanted the 4 of them to judge, and I was just going to work on production stuff. And then in best of show, I was going to be the tiebreaker because I don't know if you noticed, we had 4 people and we were allowing 2 to be the democracy winning thing. That's not how it works with a whole number, with an even
worked
number.
For me. I liked it. I liked how it went. Yeah.
You're right. Because Todd and I were against you. Oh my God. Oh, this is so awkward. I apologize. Yeah. You're right. I was voting for someone else's. My bad. But again, I'm a slave to democracy. We had to let them. We had to do it that way, and it did work out. I think I'd put you as either second or third, if I recall.
Me second.
Which, and Todd had you third. I think that was what the order was.
Todd had me like fourth or fifth. He was trying to push me out. He didn't like mine. He didn't like it. He was like, this one, I don't like it. He said it's too bitter. I was like, I kind of agree with you.
Oh, he really did say that?
Yeah, he did say it's too bitter. But then he said there was an off flavor, and I was like,
he's a liar.
I don't know.
No, he's a liar.
But yeah, he was trying to push it out. And at one time, you were like, okay, we can get rid of that one. And then you tried it again, and you're like, I don't know, I kind of like that one. And then because I would have been out fourth, and I'm like, at least it's give him the top 3 so I can get, a medal or a trophy. So then it got into top 3. I was like, all right. And then, the two guys there, was it Jonathan and Wes, I guess, right?
Yes.
Their names? Yeah. They held their ground, and they
and God bless them for it. Like I said, so ideally, alt Pokal comes around and we're going to have 4 judges, not me, and then I'll be the tiebreaker. I really do like this best of show style. I do think it makes for more entertainment, and I do now realize why other competitions don't film themselves. Like they have immense shame or just dignity or something, but people don't want to see. I guess the scrutiny, and because I think I mentioned that during the Kölsch Cup, and someone did message me on Instagram afterwards, like, "Oh, it was hilarious, this or that." And you said how people don't film, and I was like, "Well, working for Todd for 17 years, I have no more dignity. I have it's all gone. So there's nothing you can say to me in the comments of YouTube that I haven't heard from Todd. So if you're like, what an idiot, that scorecard's stupid. Okay, cool. Thank you, internet stranger, for trying to ruin my day. You can't hurt me.
Yeah, anyway. I love it all, man. I love it. I love the scorecards. I like watching it. I mean, I compete a lot, but I also, I don't know. I try not to take it too seriously, right? It's all objective. Even, you can be the highest ranked judge you want, but at some level there's bias, and one of my bottles might stink and the next one might be good. Who knows? So it's all fun.
It is fun. And I'm so happy that you've dialed it in, because placing 2 years in a row, people don't realize, again, because personal bias absolutely makes its way for us. I won't throw that on everyone else, but it's for everyone else. They're liars if they're like, no, I follow the book and all I do is follow the book. No, you don't, you liar. But I'm so glad, because you've obviously dialed in what we like, and if that's all the Kölsch brewing is to win our contest, God bless you. I like it. Keep doing it. We would have to. I would love in the future to have like a champions table of judges. The logistics is getting y'all down to the ranch, because I have no money, so I can house you up and give you Todd's food and hospitality. As the flights are not cheap into Dallas, but anyways,
I've like stewarded at competitions to like help out, but I'm always afraid to like judge, because I would be like the guy like, great job, like like I like it. I don't know, I just like it. Or
welcome to the
like
club, dude. And why isn't that good enough for people? Like, come on, Jonathan. I appreciate being at his table. we scored most things very close to each other, but he did have these excellent write-ups, and I was like, oh, he's already going to say that. I don't have to. Ha! And people who enter our thing, they're not strangers to us, so they're going to expect the bar's low for what they expect from me, and they're going to be so spoiled by whatever Jonathan wrote for them. But I love it. Like, I got to have, and when Horst, I know you watch every other episode, or you watch like one of these once a quarter. When Horst comes and does the alt call, I cannot like how honored to have him judge your alt for and the write-ups he's going to provide, and then the other table is going to be like me and Todd, like the alt beer was good, you know, like it's just those poor schmucks. Like,
that's good, you know. You go to appease to everybody, you know. You got to make something that everyone.
That's right.
Likes, you know?
Yeah, on the spectrum of Neanderthal to Einstein, Todd and I are down at Neanderthal. Anyways, but Bob, dude, I appreciate your time, man. I know this is your lunch break, so I apologize for taking it all up. I do know. I don't know if you mind me plugging your Instagram in the show notes below. It's Bob Does Beer Things, I believe. I wrote it down somewhere. Yeah. People want to see what you're brewing. Is it even a public thing or is it private? I don't remember.
No, it's public, but it hasn't been active. The last photo was my Kölsch Cup trophy from last year, 3rd place. So my next one's going to be the Grand Champ. I'm waiting.
And you just held it for YouTube viewers. You just held up. Is that this year's batch? The award-winning batch?
Yeah, this is Kölsch. Yeah.
Brother, it is beautiful. Oh, look at it. I mean, we see right there. Biofine. I'm a believer.
Might be a little light in color, but I mean,
well, I don't remember if yours was the one that Jonathan did say was too light in the first round. Well, I loved it though. You can't be too pale. Yeah. Like, he's never been a clone.
He actually, when you guys were looking at it, you're like, this looks good, and he took a sip, and I don't know if he would be okay with it or not. Maybe I don't know if he's on Instagram, but he made this face when he tasted it, and it looked like he was drinking toilet water. Like he was like, oh, and you go, oh, it's that bad. And he's like, no, it's good. And I was like, oh, thank God.
See, I remember that. I didn't remember it was your batch. I remember that because the face was like disgust. It was ooh, like
I wanted to take that screenshot and put it with the trophy on my Instagram.
I'm going to see if I can print it and then just heat transfer it onto your trophy. We'll do that. Anyways, Bob, dude, I really do appreciate your time. People, if you want to brew what Bob brewed in award-winning Kölsch, check out the show notes. If you're watching at youtube.com/homebrew happy hour, while you're there, like this video, go watch the Kölsch Cup, or you can scrub through. It's like 2.5, maybe 3 hours of stuff. I don't blame you if you don't want to watch it, and go follow him on Instagram and all that. But my friend, thank you so much. We'll have to have you on again, and hopefully you enter more competitions because I really enjoy drinking your beer.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers. Thanks.
Thanks, brother. And that will do it for this episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. If you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, you could go to homebrewhappyhour.com. But even better, call it in to 325-305-6107. Get yourself that gift card to kegconnection.com. Thank you to our show sponsors like Muntins Malt, premium grains for a better brew day. If you aren't already brewing with Muntins, why not? Come give them a try by joining the Chub Club at a recipe receiving level. For the best hops available online, give our friends at hopsdirect.com a visit and pick up what you need for your next brew day. Also, get a pack of premium imperial yeast along with delicious recipes from us when you join the Chub Club. Again, go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour and come brew with us. On behalf of Todd Burns, James Carlson, and the Pearl Media Network, I'm Joshua Stubing. Thanks for listening.